Hey, everybody. Welcome to Magic Bringers Rising. This is the episode for June 5th through the 11th. And find out what this week's energy has to do with inner child healing and boundaries being your joy. So stay tuned for this episode. Welcome to Magic Bringers Rising Chats, a show by Super Secret Powers. I'm your host, Lindsay Baldessano, and let's get ready for a dose of energy healing, channeled guidance, and humor to keep your intuitive flow open and your roots grounded so you can weave the life of healing, spiritual purpose, and magic that you want. So, a couple points of business before we get on to this week's energy report. We've been doing some change ups and some really getting into flow, a different flow here at Super Secret Powers with the launch of our Queen of Your Inner Realms membership. We've been working on this masterclass, and it's me and my friend Angie Dabrowski. And we have also now started up like a little video series podcasty thing called Living with Intuition, where it's just her and I chatting about what's up in the energy, what's up with us, what we see happen, things we've been doing, energy work wise, healing wise, just like whatever comes up, because it's like real talk about, what it is to be a person in this 3D world who has abilities, who has some extra sensitivities, and, just living with it. Um, so I hope you all check out those videos, that video series, because it's fun, and, bring your coffee and, feel free to join in on the conversation in the comments, and, we'll respond, because this has been such fun for us. It's been such a juicy thing. And that's what we're hoping for our Unleashed Masterclass as well. And that's why we're introducing that flow now, to get people excited about the fact that people are just going to sit down and talk about these kinds of things. Talk about what it is to live with the little weird experiences. Talk about what it is to have trouble with boundaries and how to reset them, and how to come into that knowing for yourself that, maybe this is just all me not stepping into myself. How to, deal with guides, how to connect deeper, how to make sure that you're getting the time with divine that you need every day. Because, we're here from a very practical point of view that, there isn't one way to do anything. And that the beauty of the spiritual path of being a witchy person, of being a light workery kind of person, and no, not white light, but energy working person there, um, energy sensing person, is that you are this unique expression of the divine. Yes, you are God and God is you, and we can get all very esoteric and existential like that. Doesn't take me much. But what does that mean? What does that mean, to how we live with family and live with work and live with, maybe a big dream that we're trying to manifest? So if all that interests you, please join the Unleashed Masterclass. It is going to be an amazing 5 days. It's not just 5 daily lessons dropped. We are going to be on live with you every night for 5 days. And on that fifth day, we're going to do a really fun thing. I call it a guidance sling. So I'll get together, and those of you who feel strong enough or called to enough, we're just going to like draw cards for each other, like just one card for each person that asks a question, but we're going to do it in this like supportive community space. This is why, we desperately needed some kind of private Facebook community to host this in, um, because we don't just want anybody else wandering in on that. We want to have a beautiful, energetically amazing container so that we can have this amazing, transformative, and supportive, and just energetically coherent space. All right. But I hope to see you there. Look in the show notes for the link for that on YouTube. Might be up there for Facebook. We'll you have to see. But now, on to the show. An interesting week. So we're coming up on like the transition into what the energies are going to be like over the summer. And of course, we've been like warming up a little bit to it, but I really feel that like that Sag full moon that we just had this weekend, I really feel that it like kicked everything off. So, starting this week, we have Venus in Leo, and we have Venus doing some dances with some outer planets. And we have Mercury doing some stuff as it goes into Gemini. And then at the end of the week, we have Pluto going back into old fashioned Capricorn, which almost seems like a drag in comparison to everything Sag brought us, the Sag full moon and Venus in Leo is bringing us, as long as it's not retrograde yet. Um, because it's going to be like, well, like this year was feeling so different. I was able to do these incredible things, and now we want to pull back like all the stuff that I kind of left behind when Pluto goes retrograde at the end of the week. And it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be interesting how our inner child is going to help us rise, because I really think that that is what Venus is going to do here. Not because, we aren't sensual beings. It's just that so much of us haven't fully explored our inner child self and our inner child stuff. So for those of you who've already begun that exploration, that healing, that reintegration, um, it might feel like you remember things about yourself when you were younger, and it really helps bring home like the core of who you are. So it could be a very empowering week. But if it's taking you by surprise this coming week, I will say explore what your big soft heart of heart wants. That very childlike innocent you, like what is it that you actually want? Because if you're getting caught up in comparisonitis, if you're getting caught up in um envy or jealousy, or pity me, when is it going to be my time? Why does everybody else get before me? um you really have to come back and really give yourself the love that you need, and find that love within yourself and within your connections to the divine and your guides. That is why we come into the wholeness of our being, so that we're not always negotiating with the inner child and perhaps acting out because we don't necessarily feel the love, the appreciation, I don't know, the kumbaya we wanted in fellowship. Um, so while all that's going on your own interior, this might also be going on in other people's interiors, which might mean like group work gets a little challenging, teamwork, any kind of partnerships, anything like that can suddenly start feeling like really unbalanced. So this is certainly time to explore how it is that you can give yourself what you need. And a lot of that comes with boundaries. I know this isn't like, oh my God, I'm going to feel wonderful afterwards work. And I know it's the kind of work that we usually avoid because it seems hard. Not a lot of us intuitives, flowing kind of people like confrontation or feel comfortable in confrontation. Um, but I really think that that's because we're holding on to stereotypes. that when we hold boundaries and when we have to do boundary work, it means we have to get, mean. We have to get fierce. We have to be that person who holds that ultimatum. I'm going to set the line and you're not going to cross the line ever again. That's a lot of light language going, isn't there? Let's clear all that. Because you are here for a reason and you are the way you are for a reason. And you are meant to have that big, gorgeous, compassionate heart for a reason, right? And maybe that reason is to find a non-conflict, non-violent, in a sense, way to make that confrontation or to change the way you view confrontation, to change the way you view speaking up for your own needs. Because maybe it's just more about actually speaking what's in here than it is about making lines and walls and all that kind of crazy stuff. Maybe it's letting the love that you feel because you care and you do recognize, and this is why it's that achy feeling when you don't get it, you do recognize that you are a worthy being. Your soul self is shining through to say, like, listen, like, this should be a little bit more balanced. And your ego's like, you're right, it should be. Why can't I do this? Well, I mean, it could be a lot of reasons. It could be communication. It could be, you have a lot of problems receiving. It could be, that within you, this is like, well, I guess I haven't done enough to help this person for them to be reciprocal back. But then at that point never comes. At that point, then you have to figure out what you want and what boundaries you feel like you can hold. And like I'm saying, this isn't about ultimatums. This is about, all right, they're calling for help again. What kind of help am I actually willing to give anymore? I mean, I'm tired. This isn't fulfilling. This isn't like lighting me up anymore. This is only maybe tearing my heart out over and over again because I can't actually help until that person decides to do something different. So sometimes it does mean stepping back, but it's not stepping back in a way where you abandon, like where that abandonment stuff comes in, but stepping back to give maybe someone you're dealing with a little bit more room to figure it out themselves. Because they, when it comes down to it, all we can do is facilitate healing. People have to choose healing and choose to be on a different path. And of course, we can support them in that if we choose so, if it's in the cards, so to speak. But this is so this is a week. It's going to be a week. Like, I feel like it's going to be like emotionally good, but emotionally heavy. And I don't think we need to hold on to the heavy stuff. I think we can just let it flow if it feels like it's going to flow out again, because it means that you are in alignment. And I wouldn't necessarily judge something if, maybe you're not healing or maybe you're not feeling something the way somebody else thinks you should. It's okay. I think we have a lot of downloads and a lot of support. I mean, Pleiades is kind of, I think it's Pleiades, is kind of dominant in our skies right now. And it's, huge healing and huge energetic and huge guide support that is available at this time. And that's the crazy part about this summer. This this summer. This summer has a lot of heavy energies, but has a lot of amazing energies to go with it. So, maybe this is a time when we just kind of throw some expectations out the door and we see what comes up. I mean, don't throw your business out the door. Maybe throw the way you're doing your marketing plan out the door and try something that's a little bit more in tune with that inner child. You know, maybe throw your regular schedule out the door and see what you can do to get back in touch with the simple daily life kind of pleasures, at least at first, and then see what comes up. Just bring it back to making sure that you are in your okayness. This is all like light language, light languagey stuff happening here because I wasn't doing this before I started this video. Oh, and next week I can't say it's going to be like woohoo any better. Um, because on top of them, Pluto being in retrograde from this weekend, next week we're going to have Saturn going into retrograde in Pisces, which at least for my Aries self is always like I have to watch the emo stuff. I have to watch the world sucks. It doesn't do what I want it to do. It's not the way I want it to be. Kind of pity me party. I don't know, angst, existential crisisy kind of stuff. And with Saturn doing it, you might be tinged then with like, am I doing enough? Is my work out there, my impact out there enough? Which can really call into question some serious light work or emission kind of feelings and alignments. So this is why I'm like, all right, take some of the pressure off, follow that Venus energy, follow the inner child work to fulfilling that big heart for the next at least 2 weeks. And then we're going to come up on solstice. Not solstice, equinox. No, solstice. I'm fine. I still have to pack for the cruise. And I'm like, how can I get this video done quickly? Because it's all on timing. I have enough time. I just don't want to rush through this because I'm like second guessing myself and making mistakes. But we're coming up on solstice. And things will continue to get a little lighter and brighter to kind of back up that Venus energy. But we do have more retrogrades coming, of course, because it's summer in North America. That's the way it's been for the last couple of years. And, once we hit that Venus retrograde in Leo, I don't want to see us all falling off the wagon because we're all then beginning to doubt our own heart, doubt our intentions, doubt our impact. So I want us to be able to get good with the Venus message now so that the heavier work later doesn't feel like it's such heavy soul lifting. Okay? Okay. So, as you can probably guess, our light language is going to revolve around the inner child. So before I start this light language more formally, there is something that just keeps coming up in my body and my own energy that I just want to put out there. Um, I've had the great fortune and privilege to be able to go on a lot of travel, a lot of cruising in my life. And it was just the nature of my life. It was very actual little to do with my own decisions. All I do is basically say yes when it comes up because a few years ago, like 10 years ago, dating myself, um, I really began to see the difference between how I was on vacation versus how I was when we still had all the kids, and it was a lot more chaotic in my life, and how I really pushed and tried to cajole the rest of my nuclear family, not so much my parents, because they were always doing their thing anyway, and we were just tagging along, to behave differently, to not be themselves, in a sense, because I wasn't like, I was just like, don't fall asleep at the table. But now as I've stepped into traveling more, I've realized that like I don't want to stop living how I live on a cruise ship because I've really gotten into my own groove, of course. So it's more like just living while you're on the water in a beautiful place. Um, and I wanted that for the rest of my life too, as much as possible. Because I mean, certainly you're not exactly paying all your bills or making big life decisions on a cruise ship for the 1 week that you happen to be on there. Um, because regular life gets messy. Regular life gets a little heavy. It gets a little, we get a little up in our heads. Um, but it really led me to this idea of like, how can I live a more cruise life? Just here, land based, in my office, in my backyard, with my family. And it's been an interesting ride. And I say this knowing that now my husband might have cancer, that I certainly don't regret it. I don't regret letting go of a lot of the more structured stuff that society likes to tell you need, and some of those boundaries. Um and I like having an open home where people can come to, and I like having a place that feels, because of the way we live in it and because of the way we set it up, that feels more like just an open space for extended family. You just have to, mind my dogs, but it's the only reason why I don't have clients in my home, is because dogs. Dogs are big and loud, and I'm committed to them, definitely. Um, so when we're thinking about inner child and boundaries, um, it's really something that should be coming from joy and not from anger. I mean, maybe the anger helps you realize where some boundaries need to be redrawn. But this is what I was saying before about, maybe there's a less confrontational way to do that. And maybe it just comes from being so very deeply genuine about what you actually see and feel toward the other person. Of course, I'm saying this from a non uh, toxic relationship standard. I mean, what you have to do to get out of a toxic relationship is what you have to do in the end. You can heal afterward. But yeah. So there's that flow that is nourishing for you. And maybe that's not having a permanent residence right now. Maybe that's Airbnb-ing it for a while to figure out where you want to go and where you do want to invest your time and your money and your energy. Maybe it's moving someplace that isn't in the city. Maybe there's a different flow, a different kind of life you could be living if you just let go of some of the things that are more keeping appearances than they are your authentic and natural and feel good self. And it doesn't matter what anybody else says, because in the end, you're going to show up more, better, more powerful, happier, from a deeper and more confident place when you do. And that is just all me, the guides, and the people who really and nurturingly love you actually want for you. And just breathe into this. Just watch with soft eyes, or even just close your eyes. It doesn't matter. My guides and allies are helping to shift things in the collective around those who watch and those who are impacted by them. and for those who are simply just attuned. Just brushing off the feminine side. Sensing and adjusting. Just smoothing some of those transitions and energies back into natural body flow. Connecting the feet is important. Feet to earth. And I just want to remind everybody listening, that it is okay. It's natural. It is one of the more glorious parts of the human experience to show how much you love, to show how much you care, to be that open-hearted and innocent with those we love and are in a supportive relationship with. A lot of energy moving on that one for me. Certainly take your time and, come back to this world, but you certainly don't have to release your perceptions of the energies flowing. You can certainly keep tapping into that now and throughout the day as you need to. Because it's not just my working, it's just me expressing what's going on when I connect to guides and when I say, like, yes, I want your help. I'm just tuning the collective, letting this open something for others. Anyway, I hope to see you on our Living with Intuition chats, and certainly you can come in on these Magic Bringers Rising chats at any time and tell me what you think and what you're experiencing. If you have any questions, of course, please put them in the comments. And don't forget to like, follow, and share my business, Super Secret Powers. And look for that link for Unleashed, because you're going to have so much fun starting June 12th with us when the masterclass kicks off. Now, I am actually on a cruise. I don't know if you know that. I'm actually on a cruise. I recorded this before I left. So, hop over to my Facebook profile, Lindsay Peters Baldessano. Lindsay Peters Baldessano. And don't worry if you can't spell Baldessano. I'm sure you'll find it if you just type in bald ass. Something similar will come up. Or super secret powers to see any of my vacation videos. And I am going to attempt to go live from the ship or the islands, wherever I happen to be on Wednesday and Friday. All right. I love you all, and I hope you enjoy this beautiful Venus week.